morning, everyone. I am Dr. Ma Angelica A. Taloma, and I will be discussing pathologic obstetrics. So these are the topics that will be covered in this video lecture. It will be on the antepartum complications of pregnancy. So when we say ante, pag nakita natin ang prefix na ante, it means before. So partum is giving birth. So before giving birth, yan yung tinatawag nating antepartum. So, ang topic natin dito, since it's pathologic OB, when we talk about pathologic OB, it means that something is wrong. Hindi siya normal. So, antepartum complications of pregnancy, meaning before you give birth. So, what are these complications? So, what we are going to talk about are the abnormalities during pregnancy. So, we have the bleeding disorders, and ika-categorize natin siya according to the trimester that they occur. So, some bleeding disorder occurs in the first trimester. Under that would be abortion and ectopic pregnancy. Bleeding disorders for second trimester will include hydatidiform mole, incompetent cervix. And for the third trimester, we have abruptio placenta and placenta previa. We also have systemic diseases that are complications during pregnancy, and we will be covering the most common. So first, gestational diabetes mellitus. So I know narinig na natin ang diabetes before, but when you see the word gestational, it means during pregnancy. Gravidocardiac. Cardiac means it pertains to the heart. These are diseases related to the heart. And when you see the prefix gravido, gravid means pregnant. So, these are cardiac disorders while a patient is pregnant. We will also discuss thyroid storm and acute pyelonephritis. Next, we have common infections. So, these common infections would include rubella, influenza, and other sexually transmitted diseases. So these are the topics that we will be covering. Now, the manner in which we are going to discuss this will follow this process. First, of course, we have to assess. After which, after assessing and doing the history of the patient, we need to do a physical examination to check if what is being assessed in the history is congruent, or ibig sabihin, nagtutugma siya with what is seen when you do a physical exam. Pag sinabi natin physical examination, you inspect, you palpate, you percuss, you auscultate, or whatever is necessary. So, we have also to discuss yung mga laboratory studies. So, these are the things that you need to take note. Ito yung mga common laboratory tests that we are conducting on a specific diagnosis. After that, we will also talk about the appropriate nursing diagnosis and ano ba yung plan natin and the outcome that we would like to have for our patient who is having complications. How are we going to implement it, and how are we going to evaluate the outcome? Paano natin ma-assess if the outcome is what we want, or we want to assess what is the result in the implementation that we did. So this will be how it will be discussed para organize tayo. Now, these are the things that I want you to understand and memorize by heart. What are the danger signs of pregnancy? When we talk about danger signs, these are the things that you need to look or to assess for a pregnant woman. Pag nakita mo ito sa isang pregnant woman, ibig sabihin something is wrong with her. And if you miss this, pag hindi mo ito nakita as a healthcare provider, then it will really entail danger. Not only to the mother, but for the fetus as well. That's why it's called danger signs. So, pag titingnan natin, we have a total of 10 danger signs. Isa-isahin natin. So, when we talk about the first one, we have headache. Sasabihin ng buntis sa'yo, masakit yung ulo ko. Sakit ng ulo ko, ma'am, ang sakit po ng ulo ko talaga. Sobrang sakit, never ko pa po na-experience ito before. Kapag narinig natin ito na sabihin nila, do not take it for granted. Always have to assess more. If you need to take the blood pressure, then take the blood pressure. kapag we need to take the vital signs, we need to assess anong nagkukos ng headache ng pregnant woman. Why? Because this might already be a sign of what condition? Pre-eclampsia. Nagpre-pre-eclampsia na pala ang buntis. Pero sinabihan mo lang siya, naku ma'am, normal lang yan. Itulog mo lang yan. Will that be entailing danger? Yes, because pre-eclampsia will have a lot of complications. Next, sasabihin sa'yo ng pregnant woman, ma'am, nanlalabo po kasi yung paningin ko. You have to assess further. You have to take the vital signs again. I-check mo yan further. What is causing the blurring of vision? Is it an eye problem? Talagang lumalabo na yung mata niya? Or is it related to a condition na tinatawag nating pre-eclampsia? Okay, next. Prolonged vomiting. So, this is the keyword, prolonged. Pag sinabi kasi nating vomiting lang, sasabi ba nating normal ito sa buntis? Pwede, di ba? Normal, kasi may mga buntis na talaga nagkakaroon ng tinatawag nating morning sickness, na susuka sila. Especially if meron silang naamoy na hindi nila gusto or nakain, natikman, or may nakita silang hindi kaaya-aya. So, pwede itong maging cause ng vomiting. And at the same time, meron tayong tinatawag na hormone, yung ating human chorionic gonadotropin hormone. Di ba? Yung tinatawag nating HCG. So, pwede siyang mag-cause ngayon ng vomiting. Now, ang keyword natin dito is that word prolonged. Pag sinabi natin prolonged vomiting, ibig sabihin, it is already excessive. More than the number of times na normal, ang pagsusuka niya. From morning to evening, nagsusuka na siya. Halos wala na siyang matake in because everything that he eats or drinks, he vomits or she vomits rather. So we call that prolonged vomiting. And is that a danger sign? Yes. Pag nakita niyo lang yung word na vomiting, it's not enough to say na it's a danger sign because it is normal. Kapag prolonged ito, doon natin siya iisipin, baka pre-eclampsia. Okay. Next, we have epigastric or right upper quadrant pain. So, sumakit ang abdomen ng mother, specifically sa epigastric area and in the right upper quadrant area. So, if this is the abdomen of the pregnant mother, meron kasing 4 quadrants yan. So, when we talk about the right upper quadrant area in this portion, okay, so maraming pwedeng conditions na associated with that, one of which is pre-eclampsia. Pag sinabi naman nating epigastric area, kung ito yung abdomen, nandito ang navel ng buntis, dito sa portion na to is the epigastric area. Pag merong pain ang buntis dyan, then it might be associated with preeclampsia. So do not dismiss any pain complaints from the mother, especially abdominal pain. Okay, next, another danger sign would be edema, which is characterized as non-dependent. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng edema? Sa Tagalog, ang term na ito ay manas. Nagmamanas ang buntis. So, nag-a-accumulate ang fluid sa interstitial space. Therefore, nagkakaroon tayo ng manas or edema. Okay, una, let's define what is a dependent edema. Pag sinabi nating dependent edema, this is dependent on the position of the patient. Halimbawa, nakatayo ka, nag-work ka as a nurse at nakatayo ka ng 12 hours, dire-diretso. Kung umupo ka man, umupo ka lang ng 5 minutes. So dahil sa tuloy-tuloy na pagtayo, namanas ang paa mo. Ibig sabihin, it was dependent on your position kasi nakatayo ka ng matagal na oras. Pero nung umuwi ka, humiga ka flat on bed at itinaas mo ang paa mo, and after which, nawala ang manas, ang tawag natin dyan, dependent edema. Kasi it depends on your position. Nung tinaas mo ang paa mo, nagkaroon ng fluid return back to the heart, ngayon nawala yung edema. So that is dependent edema. What do we mean when we say non-dependent edema? Ito naman ay yung kahit nakaupo ka, nakataas ang paa mo, ang nangyari, nagkaroon ka pa rin ng manas. Nakaupo ka naman, nakahiga ka naman, nakataas ang paa mo, nagkaroon ka pa rin ng manas. Ibig sabihin, it's not dependent on your position already, but it is caused by other pathologic causes. So we call that non-dependent edema and it may cause your preeclampsia. So all of these signs and symptoms, hindi dapat natin ito baliwalain because it might be related to a condition called preeclampsia. Okay, now let's proceed to the number 6. Pag sinabi nating danger sign na fever, always think of infection. Tandaan nyo yan. Pag naglalagnat ang isang pasyente, kahit sino pa yan, pregnant mother, baby, or adult, iisipin natin, pag merong tayong na-assess na fever, ibig sabihin, temperature greater than or equal to 37.8 degrees Celsius. Greater than or equal to. Fever na yan. So, anong iisipin natin? Infection. Unang-una, pinaka-common sa buntis, ang UTI. Urinary tract infection. So, meron tayong infection sa daluyan ng ihi, which may cause PROM. Anong PROM? Letter P stands for premature. R, rupture of membranes. Kapag hindi mo ginamot ang UTI at tuloy-tuloy ang infection, anong pwedeng mangyari? Premature rupture of membranes. Ibig sabihin ba, mapipigilan pa ba natin ang paglabas ni baby? Hindi na, kasi pumutok na ang panubigan niya. So, 35 weeks, lumabas na siya. So, yan ang isa sa mga pwedeng maging complications natin. Okay. So, next, dysuria. Okay, nakita natin yung suffix na urea, which means urine. This, pag DYS, it means dysfunctional. Something is wrong. Either masakit yan, okay, o yung pag-ihi niya, hindi tuloy-tuloy. So, dysuria. Ano ulit ito? Signs din ito class ng UTI. And tandaan, pag hindi gagamutin ang UTI, anong ating other complication? Premature rupture of membranes. Next, nakita natin si mother, nagkaroon siya ng watery vaginal discharge. May lumabas sa kanya pero matubig, hindi naman ihi. Kapag amuin o kaya titignan natin yung color, hindi siya mukhang ihi, kundi mukha siyang matubig. Ano kaya yan? Bakit kaya naging matubig? Isipin natin class, naku, baka pumutok na ang panumigan ni mother. Premature rupture of membranes. Kaya nagkaroon na ng matubig na discharge. Okay? Number 9. Bloody vaginal discharge. Okay, this is never normal. Pag naging bloody or nagdugo si mother, dinugo si mother, yan ay isang danger sign. Threatened pregnancy. Kung nasa first trimester tayo, pwede natin yan isipin abortion or ectopic pregnancy. Okay? Pag nasa second trimester, isipin natin incompetent cervix yan. O kaya naman, meron siyang H-mole or yung high datidiform mole. Kapag nasa third trimester tayo, pwede nating isipin, baka ano yan, eclampsia, pre-eclampsia or placenta previa. Okay, placenta previa or abruptio placenta rather, hindi eclampsia. Okay, placenta previa or abruptio placenta. Yun ang nagkakos ng bloody vaginal discharge. Okay, and isa last sa ating danger sign ay yung tinatawag nating decreased fetal movement. Bumaba ang galaw ni baby. Take note class, after 20 weeks, pwede na mag-start na maramdaman ng mother ang paggalaw ni baby. So, dati, napansin niya, pagkatapos niya kumain, ang galaw-galaw ni baby, very active, parang busog talaga siya. Dami niyang sipa, kaya nasisiko si mother. Pero, after one day, bigla na lang nawala yung galaw ni baby. Hindi na niya maramdaman. Is that a danger sign? Nakakatakot ba yan na sign? The answer is yes, because any form of decreased fetal movement is a threat to pregnancy. Okay, I hope class, we were able to emphasize the 10 danger signs. Alam na natin kung ano yung 10 na danger signs natin. And we have to understand and memorize this by heart, especially if you become nurses, midwives, or doctors. If you see these signs, huwag natin baliwalain. Do not take it for granted. Rather, you have to assess and identify the cause. Okay. So, next these are other signs and the conditions that they may show. So, severe abdominal pain, sobrang sakit ng tiyan ni mother, this may mean abruptio placenta. Ang ibig sabihin nun, yung placenta humiwalay sa uterus very abruptly. So, severe abdominal pain. Okay, don't worry, i-discuss natin to individually when we talk about the diseases later or the conditions later. Another is fever associated ngayon sa rash. Tapos may body malaise, ibig sabihin masakit ang katawan niya. And flu-like symptoms para siyang merong trangkaso. So inuubo, sinisipon, masakit ang lalamunan, masakit ang kasukasuhan, naglalagnat. Iisipin natin dyan class ay infection by different microorganisms. Okay, next. Meron tayong vaginal discharge ulit. Pero sa ngayon, yung amoy niya kakaiba, foul smelling. Ano pa, purulent, ibig sabihin may nana na lumalabas sa puwerta ng nanay. So, anong associated condition dito? It would be sexually transmitted disorders. Okay, next, we have family history of diabetes. Dati na siyang may diabetes, biglang nahihilo, tapos hindi na iba-iba na ang sinasabi ng nanay, confused. Uhaw na uhaw. Nung tinest natin ang ihi sa urine niya, meron tayong nakitang glucose o yung sugar. And isa pang symptoms, di ba urea, ibig sabihin ihi. Polyuria, ibig sabihin excessive. Masyado siyang maraming ihi. So excessive. Pag nakita natin ang symptoms na to, ang ating iisipin ay gestational diabetes mellitus. Tandaan nyo class, pag nakita nyo yung word na gestational, it means pregnant si mother. Okay? Yun lang yung ibig sabihin natin doon. Pregnancy nanay at the moment. Next, exposure to a communicable disease. Merong isang patient, meron siyang COVID-19 o kaya meron siyang measles. Kapag nakita natin na expose ang nanay sa kanya, possible na ma-infect din siya by the same organism. Okay, and we also have lower abdominal pain. Tapos associated sa kakaroon ng pagdurugo sa puwerta, confusion. Ngayon, namumutla na yung mother, pallor. Namumuti na yung niya, parang wala na siyang dugo. Tapos, pag i-assess mo ang pulse rate niya, i-check mo yung pulse niya, makikita natin? Very rapid, ang bilis. More than 100 beats per minute. And, ang sakit-sakit ng balikat niya. Dok, ang sakit ng balikat ko. Pag nakita natin ang symptoms na to, iisipin natin, ectopic pregnancy. Okay, so ectopic pregnancy, possible ectopic pregnancy. For a threatened abortion, ang gagawin natin, threatened abortion na may chance pa na mabuhay ang baby. Hindi mo yan iraraspa class ha, buhay pa ang bata dyan.